The State of Crypto is presented by Tron, connecting the world to the power of cryptocurrency.
UK Prime Minister Liz Truss announcing she's stepping down after just 6 weeks in office. CoinDesk's regulatory reporter Amitoj Singh joins us with the details. Amitoj, so this is breaking news. Explain what's going on.
Well, it's hard to explain it, but I can tell you it's been an astonishing turn of events. It's good to see you all. It's not the perfect occasion. Anyone who follows UK will obviously not be happy. And it's been a little difficult to just catch on to everything that's happened in the last 24 hours because it's been the kind of news that you could fill up an entire month's news bulletins with. So what's happened? And just a short while back, about half an hour back, you had Liz Truss come out of 10 Downing Street and announce that she's resigning. What are the conditions behind her resigning? That she's going to be still in power for about 1 week, which is the time within which the Conservative Party has to actually hold an election. Now, that's going to be interesting because it's not quite clear who are going to be the candidates. The prime candidate was supposed to be Jeremy Hunt, but he's already said that his wife and his children have said, no, you cannot stand for that election. He's also seen to be the kingmaker in a way. And talking about the king, Liz Truss had already informed the king, King Charles. Now, why are we talking about this? This is a critical question, right? How does it really affect the crypto world? The crypto world is going to be affected because ever since the previous chancellor, Liz Truss removed, things have been up in the air slightly. The Financial Services Marketing Act, which is basically all about making sure how digital assets will be used as payment systems or payment mechanisms. How will that come into play? Now, that was effectively something that the UK was charging towards because they want to become a crypto hub, a financial crypto hub. That's up in the air now, and it could take a while before the things start falling in place, the ducks start to come in the row together. The other point was that there is another parallel law that our reporting has shown from Jack Schickler and my colleague Kamamul Shumba. That basically refers to how there is a seizure of crypto assets in cases of crime and terrorism. That's what would happen if that parallel law comes in place. And that was presented just last week. But again, that was thrown into doubt because of the resignation of the Interior or Home Affairs Minister, Suella Braverman. Interestingly, Suella Braverman is also now a potential candidate to replace Liz Truss. It's all happening because yesterday there was a particular legislation, fracking legislation, that was supposed to go through, and there was complete chaos with Liz Truss literally chasing her whip to come back because the whip allegedly resigned and then said, okay, I'm not resigning. And there were, all kinds of calls for her to resign during the parliamentary proceedings. It was complete chaos. And just the last the last 24 hours have been totally chaotic.
Yeah, so definitely an impact on where the direction of crypto regulation is in the UK, but also on what the markets do. I mean, when we heard news that the central bank, the Bank of England, was going to intervene and combat the new government's tax cut proposals, I mean, that also had an immediate impact on the markets. Right now, we're seeing the Great British Pound rise about 0.4%. But Amitoj, I'm very curious. Is there an explanation of why Liz Truss is stepping down? Did she give a reason?
She did not actually, because she just said my position in making sure that the mandate that I was elected on, that is now untenable. She doesn't have the support of her MPs. 17 MPs wrote seeking her resignation. And now they're calling for unity, and this is why it's both funny and ironic because they don't want, the Conservative Party MPs obviously do not want an election, and that's one possibility. Technically, there can be a call for a fresh election. That call is something that they were going to strive against very badly because they want to stay in power for the time that they have, which is about a year and a half or so. And it'll be interesting to see how that pans out because now you have Rishi Sunak, who was the person who actually stood against Liz Truss earlier and is the Chancellor. He could be a front runner. You have as I said, Suella Braverman, and also you have somebody else, Penny Mordaunt. Penny Mordaunt is going to be another candidate who seems to be somebody who has kind of stepped in the shoes of Liz Truss when she wasn't available. And funnily enough, she said once that Liz Truss is not under the table, and that's not why she's not here representing her position, and it's me. She's been kind of auditioning for that prime ministerial role in the parliament. I think the biggest fault has been that she had a policy that was something that world economic experts had said that it just doesn't work, and then she had to do a U-turn on that. And the markets reacted to that first policy when she was elected and what she implemented, and then she had to do a U-turn. And that kind of lack of credibility, that attack coming from her own ministers reflected a sense of she's just lost all kinds of respect. And then yesterday was complete chaos in Parliament because there was allegedly pushing and shoving when the vote was supposed to happen on that fracking bill. And when that happened, it just became something completely untenable. So, as reported.
It seems that in general, though, the issue is not so much. I mean, again, I'm very far outside here, but that whoever ends up becoming prime minister is essentially going to, the big criticism. One of the big criticisms of Truss is that she basically gave up on the Conservatives' manifesto, and so now. By reneging on all these things that she first implemented, that actually was the big issue, and that maybe we need to get a prime minister that keeps their word and holds on to those policies, regardless of whatever the World Economic Forum and everybody else might disagree with. Is that the sense here, or is there a sense that, hey, we need a new prime minister who can at least placate the markets and placate the financial community? Which is it? Where are we most likely going to go? One who sticks to the party or sticks to the markets?
It's a very, very good question, Lawrence. But I'd have to say it's both. I think it's been a double whammy. You've got to see when you have a plan for a 45 billion unfunded tax cut that is basically U-turned. It becomes very difficult for somebody to stay in power. When you have your greatest ally, perhaps the US president, saying it's a mistake what Liz Truss has done, that adds to the situation. And then the markets obviously react. Now, it's not helping that there's inflation and all kinds of positions taken by central banks all across the world that adds fuel to this fire. But I think there is a crisis of leadership also within the party. So it's not just the fiscal policy and positions that she took on that. It's not the fact that you have this energy policy that created a ruckus yesterday. But it's also, the fact that she's just somebody who's made that big U-turn that just is not something digestible for either the UK public or the markets.
And that's in a way that's commendable if you go there, in the government with your party platform, but you find you're in an environment where you can no longer allow, or that party platform is no longer workable, manageable in the environment, and you decide to step down. That is, how a government should work, rather than staying for several terms beyond your tenure. You're Canadian.
That's because you're Canadian. That's what you guys do. You're not, it's a different attitude.
No.
All
right.
Yeah, exactly.